Hello, my name is Jarmila Mildorf. I teach English language and literature at the University of Paderborn in Germany. I'm here today to speak to colleagues at Stranmillis University College, a partner university of Paderborn University. We're going to talk about the various study programs available at Stranmillis. And for this purpose, I'm happy to introduce to you Dr. Andy Brown, who is primary chair of and head of Arts and Humanities, Dr. Irene Bell, primary chair and head of STEM, Mrs. Sheelagh Carville, who is head of Early Childhood Studies, and Dr. David McKee, head of Health, Physical Activity and Sport. I will now answer a number of questions, and each speaker will take his or her turn to respond, and we'll have a little conversation about the study programs at Stranmillis. My first question to all of you, which study programs do you offer at Stranmillis? Sheelagh, I think you were going to answer first.
We have, as the program chairs introducing themselves will indicate to you, we have a number of undergraduate and postgraduate programs here in Stranmillis. Concentrating on the undergraduate programs, we have two programs which confer qualified teacher status on the graduates, and that is the BEd primary and the BEd post-primary degree programs. And those are both 4 years in length. And then we have two other programs. We call those our diversified programs, and they are both programs which do not confer qualified teacher status on the graduates, but they instead, if we could perhaps use that term, pedagogues, they produce pedagogues in the areas of early childhood studies and health, physical activity and sport. So those are people who have taken interdisciplinary degrees looking across the range of specific age ranges in their programs with that specific discipline focus. So those are four undergraduate programs here in Stranmillis.
Thank you very much, Sheelagh. I wonder what is special about Stranmillis's curriculum if you compare it to other universities. Andy, I think you were going to say something about that.
Thanks, Jarmila. Yes, well, Stranmillis is a small institution. We're almost a century old, and we have a great reputation and high renown within Northern Ireland. It's a place where people really want to come, and so our waiting lists to get into Stranmillis in almost all of our courses are very long, and the grades that we take in are high, it must be said. And so we have students coming into Stranmillis who are amongst the brightest and the best. They're high achievers, they're highly motivated, they really want to be here, and there's a great reputation of the institution around Northern Ireland, and so we're very proud of that. We're also very proud of the fact that, given that it's a small institution, there's a real family feel in Stranmillis. And I know that when we welcome our students who come from other countries around the world, that they very quickly are made to feel part of that family too. And we love welcoming them in, and they bring a great degree of diversity into our institution. We very much enjoy learning about their cultures, about their backgrounds, about how they study as well. And in the same way, then those students who come to us learn a lot about Northern Ireland, and they learn a lot about the education system, health, physical activity and sport. And they learn about Northern Ireland at the societal level as well as the systemic levels within our courses. It's a very beautiful campus, set in 48 acres of prime woodland within the heart of South Belfast. It's a 5-minute bus journey into the centre of Belfast, and so therefore for us the main focus of 4 of our courses is very clearly to prepare our students to work within education. And for all of our courses, the main focus is about leadership within the context in which they'll ultimately find themselves. And so we pride ourselves that the students who come to us get a very high quality degree, a very high quality service, and that they leave with their skills very much developed and enhanced.
That's great, thank you. Could each of you give a brief outline of the study program that you're responsible for? I'll pass over to Irene first.
Thank you, Jarmila. So I am chair of the BEd post-primary degree programme. This is an honours level degree programme. It is of length 4 years, and it is for those students, initial teacher education students, who plan to teach pupils aged 11 to 18 years of age whenever they graduate. All of our students undertake 6 modules per year. 2 of those modules will be in their main subject and 1 module will be in the subsidiary subject. And the list of modules that are available to both our students and to your students are available in detail on the website. In addition to the subject areas, all of our students undertake modules in education, in professional studies, and also undertake placement. Students visiting our university will also have the opportunity to engage in our education modules such as special educational needs, which is of particular interest to a lot of students, and also in our research methods. They will also have the opportunity to take part in a placement in a school in Northern Ireland, which they thoroughly enjoy.
Thank you very much. David, do you want to tell us about health, physical activity and sport?
Absolutely, Jarmila. Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk about our BSc programme. Our programme is a 3-year programme in which students study the 3 main topic areas of health, physical activity and sport. And in terms of health, it's really looking at health promotion, how we can encourage various segments of the population to adopt healthier lifestyles that then lead to long-term better health outcomes for them. In terms of physical activity, we're trying to get strategies to promote physical activity across the whole of the life cycle. So from young children right through to elderly adults in residential care, that what can be done to try and encourage these folks to have higher levels of physical activity, because the higher levels of physical activity are linked to better health outcomes and better quality of life for them. And then the third strand is sport, and we're really looking at how you teach and coach sport in the context of children from 4 years through to 18 years of age. And in actual fact, Irene's programme that she just spoke about, some of her students take the sports strand with us as their subsidiary subject. So there's links across the college. Our students are also actively encouraged to go on Erasmus in their 2nd year, and we have strong links with some European partners, and we've had some fantastic experiences. And equally for us, we've had students who've come from Erasmus and bring a lot with them in terms of their knowledge and understanding and their ability to question, and it links well into the programme. And then finally, all our students must undertake a 7-week placement, which is designed to help their employability once they graduate from college, and they choose what it is that they want to do, whether they want to go to a school, if their aspiration is to become a school teacher. Some of them would go to local authorities if they have a desire to work in sports development.
Thank you very much, David. That's great. Sheelagh, do you want to continue and tell us about early childhood studies?
Well, in common with David's programme, Early Childhood Studies is a 3-year honours degree programme. And in each of the 3 levels of our degree programme, we're concentrating on a different aspect of the child in the age range 0 to 8 years. So we're very much specialising in the early years of children's education and care. So in the level 1 of the programme, we are looking at the child, and we want our students by the end of that year to become real experts in understanding the psychological development of the children and their place in the setting, how they are engaging with their peers and with the adults who work with them. And then in the 2nd year of the programme, they move on to look at the child in the educational, the curriculum context. And again, we want them to take a very heavy focus in their programme on the planning of appropriate activities for children. And then in the 3rd year, we look at the child in the family and the social context of their community, understanding all of those factors which come to bear on the child's life and on their development. So in that way, across the 3 years, with placement at the heart of each of those 3 years of university experience, we want our graduates to emerge from their programme as real experts and also advocates for young children and their families. And it's a very successful program. We would have, between our foundation degree and our master's program, we would have just over the 700 students studying with us at any one time. And they study in Belfast, yes, with us in Stranmillis, but we also have partnership arrangements with our regional colleges in further education so that the students can study some of their programme a little bit closer to home too. So we have a vibrant student community and a really strong focus on the development of that broad interdisciplinary idea of working with children and their families in the round in a holistic way.
Thank you, Sheelagh. That was very interesting. Andy, you're last but not least, so please go ahead and tell us about your program.
Yeah, well, the primary degree course is the biggest degree course at Stranmillis University College. As I said, we have about 400 students who take the degree. It lasts for 4 years, and the students will qualify with a Bachelor of Education primary degree honours, so that brings with it qualified teacher status as well. And the degree really is structured under the 3 main pillars of education studies, curriculum studies, professional studies and placement. And in education studies, we begin by looking at what makes a child learn, what makes them tick, what the barriers are to learning. What about those who are gifted and talented, those who have alternative educational needs or special educational needs? Our curriculum studies, I suppose, is the nuts and bolts of teaching, and it's teaching our students how to teach everything in the curriculum, from maths and science across PE and the arts and the world around us. Within curriculum studies, our students have a range of modules that they do across the first 3 years, with a range of different forms of assessment within that. And then professional studies and placement, as it would suggest, is about how we educate our young students for going into their placements and going into schools. Then in the first 3 years, we also ask our students to undertake an area of specialism. They do that in art or music or drama or English, geography, history, science, maths, physical education and religious education. In year 4, there's less of a focus on curriculum studies and more of a focus on placement and indeed on a research undergraduate dissertation, which takes up a lot of our students' time and really underpins for us the importance of research and scholarship alongside learning the nuts and bolts. And placement, of course, is an incredibly important part of what we do. And our students are sent out for 7-week block practices for each of their for each of their 4 years, as well as day visits and week visits too. So the degree, I suppose, really lends itself to educating those who will become our future teachers and educators. But it's more than just teaching. It's a degree in education, and people leave Stranmillis University College going into all walks of life. And one of the important things that we do within our 4th year is to send our students out for a 2-week alternative placement, and we have over 160 partners that we can send our students out to. So they go out for two weeks and they find out what an education degree can lead to in other walks of life, whether that's with particular organizations that need to have an education service within them, whether it's within the world of politics or churches or anything. So we find that a really useful benefit to our degree course too.
Thank you very much, Andy. Thanks to all of you for giving us this great overview. I think this will be very helpful for viewers of this recording. Since we as international partners send our students to you, I'm curious to ask about what courses our students take. So could each of you briefly describe the most popular course that international students take in your respective program area? David, maybe you want to go first?
Sure. One of the most popular modules that the international students take on the BSc Health, Physical Activity and Sport program is exercise science. Exercise science is a 2nd year module, and within the module they study the responses of the body to short and long-term exercise, and alongside that there are a series of lab-based exercises where they measure energy expenditure and oxygen consumption. And I think it appeals to the international students because there's that blend of theoretical knowledge and practical, and then that helps them integrate into the social groups of the existing students. So that would tend to be one of our most popular modules.
Mm-hmm. Irene, how about your study program?
Thank you, Jarmila. It can depend on whether a student comes in semester 1 or semester 2. If it's semester 1, students have the opportunity to take a module in a subject area. It could be mathematics, religious studies, business and enterprise, or technology and design. And additionally, they will also take modules in education, and that's where we do our special educational needs, including a special educational needs placement, which the students really love. And they also engage in research methods, which they find intellectually very challenging, but ultimately really rewarding. If they come to us in semester 2, we would have a focus on preparing students to go out into school to do a block placement. And our visiting students also are placed in our schools in Northern Ireland. But one of the things that we do in post-primary is we undertake micro-teaching with our students. And this is something which can be new to visiting students. In the micro-teaching, we get the students to prepare and deliver a lesson, which is then critiqued by the student themselves, then by their peers, and then by the tutor. This is new to quite a lot of students. It is challenging, but the student feedback is that it is a fantastic preparation to going into school. So that is something that they could look forward to, and something which might be completely new for them.
Wow, that sounds interesting. Andy, what's the most interesting course that students can take with you?
All of our courses are interesting, really. But I mean, those coming into the primary degree course very often opt to do practical courses in the arts, or our curriculum studies courses within literacy and numeracy. They sometimes opt to do some of our optional courses around peace and reconciliation, or indeed around children's literature, which is always a very popular one, which ends up by looking at a reading hub and bringing children in. One of the courses which I believe the incoming students have to take, but they seem to really enjoy, is our course in what's called Northern Ireland Culture and Education, where we look at what makes Northern Ireland, and who the people in this strange little country are, and why we are, and how our history has led us to be the way that we are. And so we look at that from the geographical standpoint, the political standpoint, the religious standpoint, the cultural standpoint. And we have a number of our lecturers who deliver on that module, and they're all experts within their field. And so by the end of that, when our international students are doing a presentation where they compare the education system from which they have come in their own home countries to that in Northern Ireland, it's fascinating to see how their knowledge of their own cultural background has also grown as they've started to think about the nuances of the people that they've come to live with for a few weeks. So that would be a very popular one for us.
Great. Sheelagh?
Okay, very briefly, I'm about to start teaching at 11, so I'll just very briefly say that the professional experience modules are of great interest to our incoming Erasmus students, where we would place them out in settings working with children in that 0 to 8 age range. And the other module, which would be particularly popular, would be our level 2 module in early years curriculum, because incoming students are very interested to know what the curriculum framework for Northern Ireland is for children in that age phase. So those would be our that little suite of programs would be very popular for our students coming into us from Erasmus programs. So I'm going to leave the Zoom meeting now. Unfortunately, I have a class waiting for me on Teams. The world of technology, Jarmila. I wish you all the best now with your video recording. Thank you very much indeed for asking me to take part.
Well, thank you, Sheelagh. Thank you for being part of this. Thank you
Thank
to
you.
all of you for participating in this discussion. I think, as I said earlier, this will give people who are interested a good idea of what Stranmillis is all about, what you do in your teaching, what your study programs are. And I must say, I envy our students for being able to go over to yours and just take courses with you. It just sounds fantastic. And as I've been at Stranmillis for a few times now, I can say that everything we said in the beginning about how great Stranmillis is to welcome international students, that is absolutely true. So I can recommend it highly to everybody who wants to go. Okay, thank you to all of you.
And Jarmila, thank you to you on behalf of us. Thank you so much for hosting this. Our links with our international partners are of huge importance to us, and we know that we make great friends, and it's been lovely to see you again. It's just unfortunate that it has to be over a video this time instead of in person. The International Week that we have is always a real highlight for us as we meet colleagues from all around the world, and as our students always get to hear from those who have been out and get to meet. And as we get to work with colleagues who come in. So we're sad that we're not going to see you in person this year, but thank you for giving of your time, and thank you for the continued support and partnership, which is so valuable to Stranmillis.